So I had an idea, right? You know how there's YouTubers that are pretty good at Photoshop and then they take a simple sketch and completely remaster it to make it look super cool? Well, I kind of had this similar idea, but instead of remastering it in Photoshop by hand, how well would AI remaster a simple sketch? A sketch like this. And one of the best tools, I think, is using MidJourney. If you haven't heard of MidJourney, it's probably the best image-based AI tool that you can use that's out there right now. So all you gotta do is hop into MidJourney, go over to their Edit tab, and click on the Retexture tab, and then drag in your photo. And once you got the drawing in, you want to make sure you have the retexture on. All that really does is will keep the overall structure of your sketch the same, and then you can change some various settings here. So I think here I will leave the stylization about 400, 450. You want to make sure you do draft mode just so you're not using up GPU hours. And let's say have it create a couple different versions. So we'll do like 40 variety. And all you need to type is smiley face. It kept the original sketch. I love how it didn't even keep it a perfect circle, just like how in the drawing. So here's the original drawing. I'll switch back and forth, see how the original smiley face is still in it. Created this kind of well, I'm not really sure, like knit ball kind of a thing. This potato in a cave and a little graffiti kind of art and whatever this is. And you can take this one step further by using a little feature in MidJourney called style reference. I'm going to be using this photo of a galaxy, and what the style reference basically does is takes the overall vibe of that photo, so it's colors and styling, things like that, and apply it to this photo. If we combine that, we should get like a bluish purple galaxy kind of feeling smiley face image. So all you gotta do is upscale the gallery, because we did use draft mode, so this is pretty low resolution, and that'll bring you over to your create space here. And once you've done that, you can click down in the bottom left and use this image, use the image itself as part of the prompt. And then here we got the style reference, and we're gonna just go ahead and plop that galaxy photo in. There's our galaxy style photo, and we can, let's check the settings quick. So we got draft mode, stylization, and variety. Yeah, we'll keep all those settings. And let's see what MidJourney can come up with. So here's the results of that. And we got image 1, image 2, image 3, image 4. It did kind of match the style reference, where it's much more circular. It got a little hints of blue in there. But what we can do is if we go over to MidJourney documentation, it says right here the style weight, and the default was only 100. It can go all the way up to 1,000. So let's crank that all the way up and just see what happens. And you do that by adding --SW and then the numbers. So let's go and add that --SW 1,000. Let's crank it all the way up. And here is the finished product. We got these 4 right here. So we got image 1, 2, 3, and 4. So we started out with this sketch here, very simple, and we ended up with these in just a couple of minutes. All right, so now that you guys have the basics down, instead of this drawing, let's try something a little different. What if we used a kid's drawing? How would AI remaster a sketch like this? So we all know ChatGPT at this point, but one thing you probably didn't know ChatGPT can do is Photoshop images, and it's pretty good at doing it. So let's throw in our children's drawing, and let's simply ask ChatGPT to remaster it. All right, here I simply asked remaster this kid's drawing, and this is what ChatGPT gave me. this is a good start as a remaster drawing. It's just like a better kind of drawn and colored version of that children's sketch. But let's try to see if ChatGPT can realistify this children's drawing. So here at the bottom, I asked it to make this drawing look real, make this drawing look as realistic as possible. Now this is what I'm talking about. It turned it into a potato with literal stick arms and legs. Look at this. And then it had sticks for hair. That's amazing. Okay, so now that we've done this simple sketch, let's actually try a little bit better of a sketch. And it's still gonna be a kid's drawing, but this one actually isn't half bad, although it still could use a remaster. So let's see what Google Gemini can do. So we're over in Google Gemini, definitely a lesser known AI, especially their dedicated gemini.google.com little interface here. You've probably seen Google Gemini if you quickly Googled something with their AI overview, but there is actually a dedicated interface with it. If we go down here, we can throw in our drawing, and just like ChatGPT, we can simply just ask Gemini to remaster it. So Gemini also did a pretty good job. It didn't like overly remaster the image. It just kind of took what we had before and gave us this drawing, which is just kind of a more cleaned up version of what we had. Now let's see if it can realistify it. Let's see what if Gemini thinks this would look like in real life. So I asked Gemini, now instead make this drawing look like real life, realistify it. This is the drawing. I'll be honest, this isn't that great of a generation. Let's go back to our trusty old MidJourney here. So I got the drawing thrown in, and the prompt's going to be a sunny day with a rainbow, unicorn, bird, fish, butterfly, and balloons. You kind of just want to tell MidJourney what it's going to make, and then having the retexture is going to keep that same overall structure. But where we can change it up a bit is go over our settings. Let's do landscape to keep the same aspect ratio of the original sketch. Stylization, we'll let MidJourney get a little artsy, and I think something fun to do would be turn up this weirdness slider. So it's MidJourney says introduces quirky qualities to your generated images. So just like it says, it can get a little weird, which I'm a little curious to see what it would do. So let's turn it up to, sure, 2400, and maybe try a couple of them. So a variety of 40. So let's try it out. All right, the first generation went a little off the rails. This is the first one. You can see, flipping back and forth. It kept the unicorn where it was. It kind of miscalculated what the balloons were. Like the sun's face is not a balloon. MidJourney thought it was. Got like some chicken in there, and the fish towards the bottom. So this is the first one, second, third, and fourth. I'm going to see if I can clean this up a bit. Well, I tried fixing it, and I think I made it worse. This is, yeah, it's definitely a bit weird. So we got couple more results. This is the first one, second one, and third one. Well, the fourth one actually isn't too bad, so I think we'll work with this one. And now that we have that image remastered, what would MidJourney do if I added Godzilla as a style reference to a pink unicorn photo like this? And up at the top, I added some style weight parameters, but I added in the curly brackets for permutations. And this will let me create 3 different versions at the same time, with a style weight of 100, style weight of 500, and 1000. What is going on here? Now we're gonna take a 180 from rainbows and unicorns to dragons and flaming volcanoes. So after putting in a prompt of a flying dragon and a walking dragon around in an erupting volcano, with stylized 400. It's able to get some bad results and some fairly good results. This one's kind of cool. This one's kind of missing the dragon, but also not bad. This one's definitely my favorite. This was actually really cool. It looks like dragons that are like in the clouds, but there's a volcano in the cloud. Another really cool feature you can do with MidJourney is give it 2 images, and MidJourney will blend those 2 images together. So using this image and the Godzilla photo shown on screen right now, I'm going to use those 2 and combine and have MidJourney combine those 2 together. And when I did that, it came out with these 2 images here. Now keep in mind this is draft mode, so it is a little bit lower resolution, but it came out with pretty cool concepts, which it later gave me the idea of a really cool idea for a battle of 2 dragons versus Godzilla. So I went ahead and made that with this prompt, Godzilla and 2 flying dragons fighting, with the same 2 images, and came out with some pretty cool results. You have this first image with Godzilla and those 2 dragons being much more visible. I actually really like this first photo. Second photo, it does have a little bit of a weird dragon wing in the back, but also turned out pretty good. We could easily edit that out. And here it got a little bit confused. It has 2 dragons, but I think like 2 Godzillas. And then this is probably my favorite one here with the 2 dragons and then Godzilla. And to add a little extra detail to the photo, I went ahead and updated the prompt to glowing blue Godzilla with glowing blue eyes fighting 2 flying dragons that are glowing red with glowing red eyes. Made the image look a lot cooler. So here's the first one. Not my favorite, pretty good, but Godzilla's teeth look a little weird. Not scary enough, not sharp enough. This one's pretty cool. I think between this one and the last one are my favorite ones. And here's the final picture. Starting out with that doodle for a little bit of inspiration, but if you do go outside of the sketch and use it for some inspiration, you can create some really cool art like this.